So I finished this slide 15 minutes before Copilot dropped a huge update yesterday. I don't think it's going to be a problem, though. The pitfalls that kind of undergird a lot of these enterprise AI models are the same. And even though Copilot was my example, they really exist across the board. My name is Trevor Brenn. I use AI as a part of pretty much every piece of work content I generate. I use it in my daily life a lot. I use it to write my grocery lists. And in using these modern AI models, I've noticed a consistent problem across them that really as a through line goes into these enterprise problems that we're seeing today. So I used Copilot to generate this presentation. We worked a lot back and forth, and I asked it a question that typified this problem. I asked it while we were working, hey, is Varonis monitoring our conversation right now? Kind of comical, but it said, yeah, Varonis monitors your prompts, my responses, how I use data to make those, what high-risk data I'm touching. It's going to alert on inappropriate behavior and abuses, and it's going to shut it down. It's a great answer. But then I kind of put a funny smiley face at the end of it, and all of a sudden it had no idea what I was talking about. It gave the wrong answer, and it gave it confidently. This is not a Copilot problem. This is a function of how machine learning works versus traditional software design. When I look at traditional software, I pick every step in the path. It's deterministic, it's repeatable. If I drop you smack dab in the middle of step 3, you know how to get to step 4 and 5 every single time. But big problems don't get solved like this anymore. Machine learning can solve some of these larger problems. The difference is we pick the output and we reward results. We don't get to see the steps or know the steps. We just have to kind of push this probabilistic system to give us something close to what we want. And when we multiply this by the scale of modern models, GPT-4, for example, has over 1 trillion parameters. It's a mixture of experts, but other models have hundreds of billions of parameters that light up every time I ask it a question. And zooming in on a single weight, a single dot of light, this isn't a rule, it's some fragment of a pattern. It's a little nudge that's been learned over all the training that this model has done in its life. And we really can't understand it or trace it very well, but we can prompt it. And downstream from that, we get really, really impressive outputs. If you had told me 3 years ago AI would be talking like this, I would not have believed you. But it is every single day. Even when it was wrong, it sounded perfect. The logic, though, is inaccessible. There's no way to explain why it got that answer wrong. If I put a frowny face, would it be right or would it be different? It's not like somebody's running down the hall and grabbing a Varonis white paper and reading it off for me. That brings to the next point, which is there's no internal knowledge in the systems. It doesn't really have anything other than the corpus of internet data that it was trained on. So to solve this, most enterprise tools lean on RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Right? I take that prompt, I search against enterprise and agency context, I mash them together, and I throw it into the model. This creates the illusion of understanding, like the model's kind of wearing your agency data like a costume. This gets us really good results, though. It knows up-to-date agency information, and it gives me generally good responses. If I turn this architecture on its side, we'll see the way Copilot works. I asked Teams a question, it looked at my relevant company data, fed it to the Azure OpenAI model, and it gave me a question back. Now, looking at this architecture diagram, though, in this AI tool, the AI model is only a very small part of it. Even though they just added a whole host of much smarter models yesterday, I need to control the ground that the model lays on, not the model itself. And this is the mindset change we need to kind of adopt in order to get our enterprise AI solutions out of the pilot phase. So there's 3 pillars that hold this up from my perspective: user adoption, data, and security. For user adoption, we got to look at what the average user thinks AI is used for. And we really don't have to guess at this. If you've been on the internet in the past few months, you've seen that the average user knows AI is for funny anime pictures. OpenAI says this as well. They're burning thousands of GPU hours on these funny anime pictures, right? But I don't need an internal meme maker. I need real adoption. That means we need to make that first step, that hardest step for users, as easy as possible. Pre-baked use cases. The Copilot gallery is a great place to start, but actual job-based prompts that can solve problems people face every day, baked into documents and dashboards they're already using, goes a huge distance. Things like training and guides are good, but places where people can talk about what works and doesn't work, and short-form content goes even farther. And on that note, the reason everybody was doing this funny anime meme was because they saw everybody else doing it and having fun. This adoption is inertia, it's momentum. We have to give champions outside of IT and other departments the ability to shout their success. Once people see that, they're going to start getting on board as well. At the end of the day, if we treat these tools like novelties, they're going to keep acting like them. Now, if we look at our people and they're on board, and we start to look at the data, and you think about your environment that you're responsible for, how much data in there is a copy of a copy? How many differences are there between those copies? If you hand that data to somebody and say, which one's the most up to date? What's the real source of truth between these differences? Could they do it? That's what we ask Copilot to do when we give it unused, unlabeled, out-of-date, bad data. We need to have a full scan of our environment that understands the context. These labels have to be right. We have to know the data owners. We have to understand the exposure. It has to be current. Bad old data gums up the gears, and old labels are the same as no labels. And it has to be complete. Again, there was an update yesterday. Jira and Confluence are now supported in Copilot. This boundary is going to grow consistently, and with it comes huge productivity gains, but we're not going to get to pick where that battle is fought. Now, once we give it to the users, they're going to do exactly what we want, and they're not going to push the boundaries. Probably not. In this example, we see a user who's actually searching for clear text credentials using Copilot. It doodly surfaces them, and it actually helps tabulate it into a list and shows the web portals where these credentials go to. Now, what this means is this is not a Copilot problem. These permissions existed long before an enterprise AI tool was rolled out, and if nothing's done, they'll exist long after. This is something that the model does. It doesn't analyze the risk. It obeys the permissions on the ground. So if users' permissions are configured correctly, if their overall risk is very low, then there's no problem. But if they're not configured correctly and they have access to thousands of clear text credentials that they shouldn't, all of a sudden we have a problem. Security through obscurity is no longer an option. So what we have to do against a big automated system like an enterprise AI tool is we need big automated prevention on the other end. We're not going to be able to keep up with the data growth and the data prompts that are going to come with this. So if we think about the big ball of AI risk that comes with any individual user, we have to start revoking the access to those clear text credentials. We have to put those labels on the files. These tools already respect them. They just need to be correct and current. We got to remove all those risky sharing links, get rid of that redundant data that nobody's using, get rid of stale accounts and apps, and finally start monitoring it for abuses and misuses. These models are getting smarter every single day. The O3 model that's just been made available, right? The brain in the system is incredible. But if we don't have our users on board, if we don't have our data in order, and if the security is not correct, the body doesn't match the brain, and our Copilot rollouts are going to be stuck in pilot in perpetuity. Thanks so much for your time today, guys. My name is Trevor Brenn with Varonis. We help agencies with their AI rollout projects by securing the data, making sense of it, alerting on abuses, and integrating with other tools for downstream DLP and zero trust.